Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to RP-1, where we are launching light satellites. We're a little over a year into our contract. The funding is continuing to ramp up, which is nice, but we still have a lot left to do because we need a scientific satellite, a solar-powered satellite, and an atmospheric analysis satellite, which will be the capstone. I don't know why. I guess the sorting is kind of weird. I don't know why that's not on the bottom, but that's the capstone one. And I'm deciding to try to shift a little bit to not recording every single minute of gameplay, just because I don't think, as we get a little farther, there's just a lot of time fiddling and tinkering, and it's not always the most interesting. I think at the beginning of the game, there's a lot to talk about because everything's so new, but as things start to become a bit more procedural of like, oh yeah, I gotta try to get the Delta V min-maxed with the tank size, and what toolings do we have, and there's a lot of things that you guys already understand. So I decided to go ahead and work on the next craft prior to this episode, the Fire Ant 3. First I want to look at research though. We'll get to the Fire Ant 3 in a moment. So research wise, the two contracts we're trying to complete are the scientific satellite, which has to be pretty big orbit, 1,500 kilometers for Apo, and above 200 and below 900 for periapsis. And also we want this to probably be the solar powered one because it's going to be collecting science anyway. So it seems convenient if we just combine these two into one. But for that, we're going to need this thing, the Satellite Era Science, and to get Satellite Era Science, we need Satellite Era Electronics Research, which is our blue sky node, which also gets us the solar panels. So we're going to be using the solar panels here, plus the science, and hopefully we can get into space. Now, I'm planning on utilizing isogrid tanks for this, because this will allow us to have much better Delta V numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait until the materials science is done researching, and then we'll go for it. Pretty much all this does is isogrid and balloon tanks, just in a bunch of different varieties. I guess there's a radial decoupler. I think everything else is just tanks. Yeah, it's basically just tank. I guess there's the bicoupler and tricoupler if we want that. And then a huge engineer efficiency upgrade. Minimum by 20%, maximum by 30%, which is massive. So we are still October of 55 goes to, what is that, August of 56. So we're still pretty far from these researches being done. I'll probably pay for a lot more researchers between now and then because we need the research. But let us take a look at the Fire Ant 3 and what we've cooked up here. I need to turn off Werner Checker. First thing you'll notice, ooh, we have a cool looking launch rail. I wanted something that looked slightly better, and the stupid launch clamps were getting jittery all the time anyway, so I finally looked in modular launch pad. There's so many parts in here, it's so overwhelming, but I was able to find just these basic launch rails. And what's really funny is then I ended up trying it with just the launch rail and it tipped over because I thought it was going to be like launch clamps where they're like cemented into the ground, but they're not. So what I had to do then is find this launch plate, and then I put the rail on the plate, and then that's fine. So that works. Look, a little bit nicer looking solution. I'm a pretty big fan of that. And now let's talk about the Fire Ant. First of all, we changed the colors so they look a little nicer. The way you can do that is just use the recolorable procedural fairings, which are in here, these guys. I like how it's like a mirror in this GIF. That's actually really neat. Anyway, you use those and then you can get to the recoloring GUI and, do all sorts of crazy stuff between the patterns, and then there's all these different color schemes and you can set the color. But what else have we changed? You will notice it is the same engine. We are still using the XLR-43. No changes there. We're still using our Scud, which people recommended against doing as a second stage on the Discord, but we did it anyway because I'm a stubborn son of a gun. But that's fine. It should work, no problems. How? Am I missing something? 3%. 1 hour, 95 seconds. A minute and a half. Yeah, I guess that adds up. Okay, so that's already figured out. Another thing is the avionics is the same. The tanks are pretty much the same. And up here it looks pretty much the same. But everything's an ISO grid. Sorry, I didn't mention that yet. Yes, we have switched because that research is now on the horizon. We can use these ISO grid tanks. And I want to kind of outline for a second what the difference is here. So it's pretty huge. Let's just imagine an aerobie here. Oh, I guess I can't do it that way. What's the easiest way to do this? I guess we'll just grab this, do this, do this. Okay. So if we had a tank filled here, which needs to be highly pressurized. And then we do the same for this other tank. And we make it the best we can right now, which is HP aluminum stringer. Okay, now we can compare. I didn't mean to do that. Control Z. We can directly compare these two tanks. So, first of all, check out the dry mass. 58 for the ISO grid, 127 for the conventional structure. And then look at the resource amounts. Here we have 172 units of ANFA. Here we only have 166. So we can actually fit more wet stuff, more fuel, in the same amount of volume because the utilization is 93 rather than 90. And the dry mass is lighter, right? Which is huge because then the dry mass ratio goes way down. So it massively improves delta V, particularly for these final stages. It's a really huge difference. So you'll notice our delta V is quite nice. It's over 10,000 even with these solar panels. I might actually add more solar. One option that someone mentioned on the Discord that I hadn't quite been able to figure out on my own. It makes sense now that I think about it, but it seemed more complex in my head when I had considered it. Because I was like, what if we could just point it towards the sun and then we're fine? But I was like, how are we going to do that? Because the upper stage isn't going to have any attitude control or any sort of angle control. So I was like, how are we going to get it to be pointing at the sun, right? Well, the answer is kind of obvious once they said it on the Discord. You just launch at sunrise towards the east, and now boom. Like, you're gonna, if you imagine, if this is the planet, then, and we're launching from, yeah, we'll look at it top down. And we're launching from here, and we're going, to the east. Like, if you imagine the sun is over here, it's sunrise. Well, if you launch that direction, you're going to be launching towards the sun, and you're going to get into orbit pointing towards the sun, and you're just going to stay pointing towards the sun. Now, it is true that over the course of a year, as the Earth moves around the sun, that you'll be then pointing away from the sun. But for this contract, which only needs to last for a day or 14 days, not a bad idea. So that's certainly a possibility, rather than just covering the entire thing in solar panels so that we hope whatever time we launch is going to work. And we don't need a polar orbit, so we are going to go in an eastward pointing orbit. So I actually think we are just going to launch around sunrise and put solar panels on the front. And that'll give us even more delta V to play with. Not that we need it, but it'll work. And I'm going to put one more panel now on top. Which, maybe I'm going to need two panels, because do these mess with the COM? I think they do. Well, it's hard to tell because it's not big enough. Yeah, this messes with the COM. So that means we're going to need two of them to be balanced. But yeah, I think that'll be enough solar panel action. Each of these can charge 12 watts. So this is probably overkill, actually. but they're at an angle, so maybe not. We have plenty of delta V, so it's not a big deal. I'm just going to go with it. And the experiments that we have in here are the classics plus mass spectrometry, because we haven't done mass spectrometry in space high yet. We've only done that in space low. And then cosmic ray science is unlocked now. And I'm thinking we should put more science on this, right? Like, these aren't very heavy. So let's put a micrometeorite on here. And early television camera. What's this do to delta V? I'm curious what that one does to delta V. Oh yeah, we got the DV for it. And that thing needs 5 watts. That's getting pretty juicy. And then this one needs 6 watts and is 15 kilograms. How much would that change delta V? Ooh, by a lot. But I think 10,000 is still enough. Sorry, I gotta pause the recording real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so anyway, I think, what was I saying at the end? I think we can handle one of these too, because now the data rate is gonna be rough, but this is a satellite that just lives in orbit, so it's okay. Because the data rate on this one is 2 bits, this is 8 bits, which is a byte, this is half a bit, that's 2 bits. All that put together is going to definitely overwhelm my VHF avionics. I might switch to UHF and then go up in transmit power. I mean, that removes like 20 delta V, but I don't think we're gonna have a huge problem. The main issue is the wattage. Let me see, let's go to our antenna planner, which is where? There. So, what's the max range we're gonna be from a station? It would probably be at apoapsis of, let's say, 1,600 kilometers. Maybe it's at a bit of an angle. Earth is 6,000, so maybe it's gonna add another 3,000 or so. So probably the max is gonna be like 5,000 kilometers. Roughly. The plan button doesn't actually change anything, does it? No, it does. It updates it for the number I just typed. So you have to hit the plan button. Then changing this will live update the transmit rate. So yeah, I think having like 26 dBm is fine. 9 watts more though. Can we handle 9 watts more? I think we can. I could always angle these solar panels a little bit too, so they're more pointing at the sun. I don't like that clipping. That clipping is okay, but I didn't like that other clipping very much. Okay, so yeah, let's settle for that. Now these need to go in different spots. You might have noticed I didn't care about the center of mass with these, and that's because these experiments, thankfully, they add their mass. They're called physics-less parts. They, at least, I don't know how FAR works with physics-less parts. They might have aero drag. In normal Kerbal Space Program, they wouldn't. But they add their mass to the center of mass, so you don't have to worry about balancing them, which is really nice. The easiest way to tell, by the way, if a part is like that, is you open up your RCS build aid, and then when you're placing the part, it would create a torque. So like these are not physics-less, and you can see when I place it, it creates a torque force on the craft from the engine's thrusting. So these, however, do not, which makes them physics-less, which is great. So we've got all of our experiments. That's going to deploy properly, right? Yeah, that's going to deploy like that. We need to remember to deploy that, by the way, when we get to space. These ones. can just start deployed. And yeah, I want to say that's good to go. So, I mean, I think we're ready here. At this point, it's just a matter of building the dang thing. And simulating it, maybe. maybe we should simulate it. What do you guys think about that? First of all, are we clipping into the panels? We are. So I need a little bit more height on this bad boy. Okay, that works. Also, I wanted to point out one more thing that I forgot to mention. We, hold on, can I save? Are we good to save? I always get scared that I'm gonna save, like, the vessel incomplete. We'll go to the science thing in a minute, but the density of fairings can now go down to 0.135, which is gonna give us even more delta V. Because now these are lighter, and they're cheaper for what it's worth. That's kind of just a nice bonus, but I mean, our craft is pretty expensive either way. All these science experiments. What's the main cost? Is it the engine? What's the cost of our engine? Can we see from here? That might not have. Oh, I can see it here, right? No, that doesn't have it either. Where is the cost? Cost of the engine. I would have to middle click it. So I'll just look over here. Oh, that's only 250. So what am I spending all my money on? A lot of the money is going to this fuel tank. And that fuel tank. Those together are pretty expensive. That's like 4 grand right there. And even these are another... Okay, isogrid tanks are expensive. That's where most of our cost is going, interestingly enough. So that's why you don't use isogrid if you don't need to. Not to mention the tooling cost of isogrid is higher as well, but I don't mind. I don't mind all of that because this is what we need. Let's go ahead and simulate it. By the way, I found out something exciting thanks to help from people in the Discord. Our lag issue that we've been having, I think we figured out what the culprit is. And there's good news and bad news. The good news is, if this is the culprit, it's sort of fixable. You open the FAR settings, you go to FAR debug, and you change this to disabled. And this is just debug options, so it shouldn't be doing anything anyway. And that has improved my FPS on multiple occasions. So that's the good news. The bad news is it defaults to being the same thing every time. So that's the bad news. Now, we need east to be the sun. So let's time warp to sunrise here. There we go. Okay, so time warp to sunrise. Go ahead and, what do we do? Unguided stages, 0-2. No early shut-off stage. We want the altitude, this... Wait, what? Oh, it's on classic. How did that happen? Early shut-off stage off. We want... I don't know what flight path angle is, by the way. I should check into that at some point. But we want our burnout to be above 300, right? Yeah, above 300. So let's do 320 to give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room because it's not perfectly accurate with our unguided stage and spin stabilization and stuff. And then booster pitch, I think I decreased that after a test. We pitched over way too fast. So let's try this. Engage autopilot. It says it failed. Is our staging correct? Our staging is correct. Shouldn't have failed. Target unreachable. I've screwed something up. Fixed bootstrapping. Oh, it figured it out. I don't know what fixed bootstrapping is as far as errors go, but I think we're okay now. it seems to have figured out a trajectory here. So let's try it. What an interesting... If there was no atmosphere, that's what it would do. So interesting. Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1, simulate. Okay. That's not normal. Is our staging wrong, or was that a failure? Engine failure? We turned off engine failures. No, that's correct. I actually don't know what happened there. Let's try it again. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, something weird must have happened. I don't know what though, because engine failures are turned off. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention one more thing. I added little control surfaces to the bottom because I was tired of this thing not being able to roll. The Fire Ant 1 didn't have roll control, and I didn't like that. So now it has roll control. Fancy, eh? Fancy, fancy. We're learning. We're learning all sorts of things. Alright, I'm gonna hyperwarp a little bit. Okay, you can see how it only went up to 6.5. Watch this. If I go to here and I disable it, now it hyperwarps better. Well, I guess that wasn't very noticeable. But I promise I'm not making stuff up. The reason I know is because you can see your FPS here, and I've had times where it was at 30 FPS and I've changed that and it fixed it. So I definitely know it makes a difference. Alright, pop those fairings. And now it's just a matter of hyperwarp until we get to staging time. I love PVG. This is so cool. I'm glad people told me, like, hey, you need to figure this out. It's just like magic. It does all the math. It figures out exactly, like, it's overshot, right? So now it's aiming us down because it knows we have unguided stages. And it's pointing away from the sun because I screwed something up. Dumb? Does the sun not rise in the east? Like, what's happening here? Oh, I reverted to launch. Right. Okay, where it was sunset. That's what happened. Anyway, we're not gonna worry about the solar panels. We're just gonna see if it gets to the correct orbit. Staging in just a moment here. Perfect. She's away. Now let's go ahead and activate our magnetometer here. Thankfully it does not mess with our spin stabilization. Or does it? Can't tell if it is or not. I think it is. Does that change our center of mass? Or is this just the same wobbles we've always had? Anyway, what's our orbit? Completely failed to even get to orbit? That's not good. Really? Maybe we didn't have enough delta V. I did a test earlier with this that worked better. So what happened here? What happened here? I'm actually not sure. Lead time is too high again. That's supposed to be 0.7. I mean, that's not going to change much, but it does technically change something. We're not doing early shutoff. Burnout at 320. How did that not get us into orbit? This is claiming it'll get us into 320 by 1.5 million. So maybe we don't have enough delta V. We might need a little bit more oomph. I might have added too many experiments. Huh. I will try one more time here and just see what happens. Why did it? I wonder if hyperwarp is screwing it up. Because that was not an engine failure. We have engine failures turned off right now. I know it wasn't that. All right. You should be fine. Go ahead and pop the fairings. I mean, this is the definition of insanity. I'm doing the same thing. I shouldn't expect different results, but for some reason I'm curious why it didn't work. I think it's just because I don't have enough delta V. Yeah, it's saying negative 501 now. Okay. We probably don't need a lot more delta V. So let's see if we can min-max the upper stages. Now that we have isogrid structure, I bet we can change the sizing of them a little bit to get more out of it. Like if I make this one a little longer, maybe? We're right at 10K right now. What if I make this a little longer? That doesn't actually help that much. We can get another 40 out of it if we push the engines. I don't want to push them that far. And then this one, I could maybe make it a little bigger. 10027. Okay, so we're pretty close to the max on that one too. But that does make a difference. We give it a little bit more fuel and we get 10,071. Adding a fillet reduces delta V, which means we actually want more fuel, so that's fine. So we'll try that. And what about you? And by you, I mean the Scud. The Scud can burn for 95. It's burning for 97, so does adding a little bit of fuel to that give us more oomph? It does. Okay. So we were at 97. We can safely get to 100, and then a little... Scud is pretty dang consistent, though. I think I'm safe going a couple seconds past, 5 seconds past, in fact. And then finally, we've got our bad boy down here, which is already burning 5 past what we should be burning. So I'm already risking it pretty heavily there. But I don't think I can spare that delta V. So it turns out all these science experiments might actually be my downfall. This doesn't matter, I don't think, because it's not actually a stringer. Yeah. Oh, we could save ourselves a couple kilograms there. I mean, not that that matters. Below 30 dBm, if we just remove the antenna, we get 2 delta V. But hey, 2 delta V is 2 delta V. Controllable mass can go down to 28. Does that save some weight? There's another 5 delta V. Which doesn't sound like much, but let me tell you, when you're already going really fast, 5 more meters a second makes a pretty big difference. What else can I change? I don't think I can change anything else. We've min-maxed this pretty hard. And what happened to my delta V? Why did it go down again? What? Oh. It's these stupid things. But they really stage like right here. So. I'll put them though in that automatic staging. Whoa. That's interesting. It screws that up so much. Weird. Huh. Why does putting it in stage 3 ruin everything, I wonder? Either way, I just like to mostly calculate with them off because they're pretty insignificant. It's 10,098, and if we actually stage them at the correct time, it turns into 10,064. I mean, it's adding 150 kilograms. That's it. Let me just see if how MechJeb is doing this. So if we were to add something that's 150 kilograms, not a balloon tank, maybe. That's also a balloon. I just want like conventional structure, and then too many windows open. Can I close the integration info? I thought I could, but the button's missing. Where did I put the button for that? It's not up here either. Configure available buttons. Am I just blind? There's the RP-1 button. Oh, Kerbal construction time, I think, is the one we need. Right? No, it's not showing up. Maybe it has to be there. I'm gonna put that back. It might have to be active from the beginning. It's a launch site selector. I swear there was a button to get rid of this integration info window, and I must have screwed it up somewhere. Anyway, what were we doing? Make this longer. Be 150 kg. And then we were gonna look at what actually that changes to delta V. Yeah. I mean, it's 60 delta V, I guess, to have this fairing, but it's not the hugest of costs. All right. Hopefully this goes a little better. I'm also curious how much we're dealing with drag losses. It shouldn't be much. This is about as aerodynamic as rockets can get. So I don't really know what we could change. Engage autopilot. That puts us in 320 by 3.4 million meters before all the losses. So that might just work. And I can always modify the pitch rate as well to see if that gets us doing any better. Like if I change the pitch rate, does it even change this? I don't think it does, because this is unrelated. Like the thing that does the math on this takes over later after we've gotten past the atmosphere soup. So I don't think we can really fix that. But yeah, let's launch. See if this goes any better. It's not looking good. We're already screwed. Okay. Maybe 320 is ambitious. Maybe I should try 310. Because your periapsis is pretty hard to raise. That's for sure. Maybe I even go like 305. That gives us a bit more wiggle room there. And then I start pitching over a bit more aggressively. Let's try that. that's better. Our orbit's now at 1.1 predicted. Oh, it just got way worse. No, it's about the same. Okay. Oh, it's coming back up. Why is it coming back up? Is this thing not understanding some math? I don't know. Maybe we'll make it then. No, I think it's fixed at this point. Yeah, it understands the unguided math pretty well. It does stay the same. Okay. Whoa! Sorry about that. I don't know why, but when you get into orbit, it like starts following the rotation of the craft. So spin stabilized craft makes the camera very unstabilized. Anyway, we are not quite where we want to be, but we're really close. So we do just need like, I might actually add boosters. Like another 50 delta V, I think would do it. Or maybe I lose the magnetometer. Because that alone will do it right there. I mean, we go to 10,360. So that's 260 delta V right there. Okay. I'll just settle for that, and then I think we'll be more than sufficient here. We'll send that up in a later satellite. Maybe our capstone satellite can have the magnetometer. All right, I have to pause real quick. I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. This has been the episode of mini interruptions. Where were we? We were seeing if this makes it to space. Infinite ISP. I'm gonna find out real quick. I feel like... Okay, sorry, I'm back. I'm looking at... Oh, that's why it can't do this. Look at our periapsis. Our settings got jacked up here. Okay, so 0 to 2. But I did Google it in the PVG Bible, and it turns out whenever it says infinite ISP, what that means is the pitch has risen so much. And where does it show pitch in here? Right there, 68. The pitch will get higher and higher. Like if I change this to 400, that should increase, yeah, the pitch. And then if I change it to 480, well, that lowered the pitch, which probably means something went wrong. See, now it's saying the optimizer's failed. If I type 600, still failed. Okay, so yeah, that has something to do with it. But at 320, it should succeed. There we go. So let's try this again. 02, early shutoff stage is off. Everything else is fine for now. The booster pitch rate is important. We may need to change that further. Let's go ahead and test this. Perfect. Yeah, if we look at our flight recorder here, I think we're pitching over too fast, actually. Because see how it's flat for a while? I think you want it to be more even. Oh, that's so satisfying to watch. Alright, let's see what happens here. Will we reach orbit? It's claiming we will. 320 by 1743. And, oh god, it was pretty close to accurate. 321 by 1733. And we just need to be 300 above and below 15. Or sorry, and above 1500. So this should do it. This rocket should do it. I mean, we're within a bit of a margin on both numbers. So the Fire Ant 3 should be successful. One thing that can be helpful to look at is your SMA. So I'm going to add that into Kerbal Engineers. Whoa. Oh, it's because we're in hyperwarp. That scroll happened really fast. To the orbital thing, I'm going to add SMA in here, which is... semi-major axis. Wait, which one am I thinking of? Oh, semi-minor. No, sorry. Yeah, we don't want semi-minor. Semi-major is your apo to peri divided by 2, basically. Semi-minor is like the sideways. Like, if you think about it as an oval, it's across the oval. We don't care about that. So the semi-major axis is important because that tells us, kind of, in a way, the total energy of the orbit. It's hard to describe, and I only understand enough to be dangerous, so it's very possible I'm wrong about something here. But I believe that basically depending on... how do I describe this? If your SMA is the same, your orbital period is the same, and it takes the same amount of energy to get into that orbit from another position. I think so. Essentially, it just depends on how much radial thrust you do to change your SMA. So, like, if you are at... like, if you're at any point in the orbit and you thrust radial in or radial out, it should, I think, keep your semi-major axis equal, and it's just going to change like where the periapsis and apoapsis are. But everything else, the period and the SMA remain the same. So all that I'm trying to get at here is that this gets us an SMA of 7,400. And what that means is if we try a different launch profile, the easiest way to see if it did better is look at our SMA. Because what if the periapsis on my next launch is, 314 kilometers here? But then this is 1,800. Is that more energy? Like, was that a more efficient launch or less efficient launch? I can't really tell by just looking at those two numbers. So instead we look at the SMA, and that's tallying basically these two numbers plus the radius of the Earth, or I should say the diameter of the Earth. And that way we kind of get a better representation. Right? Am I doing that wrong? Let me know if I'm doing that wrong, but I think that's true. I think a higher SMA basically means more energy in your orbit. If I'm wrong about that, please leave comments, but I'm pretty sure that's true. So we're going to try to pitch over a little bit slower and see if we get above 7,400 here, just so we get a better efficiency here. So we're going to pitch over quite a bit slower. I'm going to go to 0.5 actually. And then we'll engage autopilot. The other settings are still the same. And we'll go ahead and launch. And I believe this is going to work better, but we'll see. Because if we watch our flight recorder, where is that bad boy? Here. Yeah, we can see our pitch kind of took longer to get to where it slowed down. And that should result in less something. Some sort of losses should be reduced, I think. Speed through this. This. Stop. it. And there we go. Okay, so that gets us to 7496. Yeah, 7500. Much better. I mean, it's not that much better, but it helps. Cool, 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 cool. All right. I mean, that's more than enough. So I could even go to like 330 here. Now, what I do want to mention, though, is that... maybe I'm wrong. No, I don't think I'm wrong. I think it's just the Oberth effect. Because of, what do they call it? Gravity, when you're thrusting closer to the planet, you're basically doing more work than when you're thrusting further away from the planet. At least when it comes to adding orbital energy, like prograde. So the reason getting into a higher orbit, because if our SMA, basically if we average these two, what's 320 plus 1930? So that is 2,200 kilometers. So you'd think, couldn't we just do an apoapsis of 1100 and a periapsis of 1100? And I think technically that has the same amount of energy as this orbit does. But that would mean you'd have to work on your insertion burn at 1100 kilometers, and that would take a lot more energy. So that's why it's harder to have a high periapsis. And at some point, it's more efficient to start with a circular or an oval orbit like this, and then you just make a maneuver node at your apoapsis to circularize there, and you bring up from the other side. Again, I'm a little rusty on those numbers, but I'm pretty sure, like delta V wise, moving in orbit. I guess what I'm asking is, I'm still asking myself the question, is measuring my final semi-major axis actually a measure of my launch success? Like how efficient it was. Does a higher SMA actually mean it was a more efficient launch pattern? Or does it not? I think it does. Sorry, I know you guys are screaming the answer at your screen. You're writing it down in the comments. And I can't hear you because I'm a week ahead of time. So I apologize. Future me cannot hear you. Or is it past me at this point? Anyway, Fire Ant 3 works. That's the important part. The Fire Ant 3 works, and we can now just wait for Satellite Era Material Science and Satellite Era Science. And the Fire Ant will be good to go. I do want to simulate it one more time, launching in Sunrise, and it's just going to be easier to warp to Sunrise here, just to make sure the energy levels work out, because we haven't tested that yet. Okay, that's a little higher than I wanted the sun to be. So let me actually stop the warp before it's done. I want it to just be on the horizon here. Just a little bit of red, a little bit of orange. Perfect. Okay, now let's simulate. And let's see how this goes. I'm thinking good things. And I need to turn off the Werner checker while I'm thinking about it. Settings, difficulty options. Werner's checker, do not open when entering editor. Thank you. All right. I turned off the check crew assignment because I'm wondering if that's what was causing the weirdness with the opening the action groups and it always popping up. Burnout 320.5. Really shut off. It seems confident we can do that. Okay. Ready, set, go. And we can just fast forward here. Beautiful. And I think this is going to be just about right as far as pointing towards the sun. Our, where's the... I can never find it. This one. Our electric charge. How are we using 300 watts? Is it the avionics? Probably. The electric charge, it's staying at 0. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. How much are we actually getting from these solar panels? 12 to 10 watts a piece. These ones on the side are fluctuating between like 7 and 11. Overall, we're getting plenty. So then if I simulate going to the dark side of the planet, will we fully recharge? Looks like it. And is that completing positive energy balance? Okay, completed that one. 10 more days here. And yeah, okay. It's official. And how much science do we get from this, by the way? 16.6, and is it not even done? I wanna look at these parts, damn it. The early television camera is done. You know, this is where slow motion helps. That one's still running for 76 days. What's this one doing? Earth space low. Micrometeorite. Cosmic ray science and video detection. That's it, right? 1, 2, 3. I guess there's the experiments that are in here too. What determines Earth space high? I'm guessing it's 1,500 kilometers. No, it still says Earth space low. Earth space low tropics. Why does this say collected 100%? Oh, because I guess we've already been on this orbit Right. I see. Okay. Well, we're still going to get a good amount more science from the cosmic ray and from micrometeorite, so that'll be really helpful. I wonder what Earth space high, what the threshold is. Let's see what space high is. Wait, can't. What am I? It's in here somewhere. Like an information button. Where's the information button? Give me more info on Earth. Where is that pop-up? Here it is. This is not going to tell me. I swear there's something that tells me somewhere what the cutoff is. But it might not be in here. I don't think it's in here. Okay. I mean, it is relevant for me to know, though. I might just need to ask. I think the thing that might have been telling me that I'm remembering was X science, maybe? Ooh, biological sample. We could send a biological sample into space and then recover it, and that would be really good for science. 43 science. Huh. And then mass spectrometry. What is? Oh, okay, I see. That's what you've collected in vessels. This is what R&D has retrieved. Okay. Now this is confusing. How do I have... I haven't even researched... Planet... Oh no, I did. I had the film camera. Sorry. I'm thinking about the TV thing. I thought it was talking about this. But it's talking about... I guess we started with it. The film camera thing. Okay, never mind. So now we need researchers. We also need to modify our launch complex to be able to handle the Fire Ant 3. So let's do that. Modify. Well, what are we... What needs to be modified? I think it's just the fuel is the only thing that's modifying. 35, 8, 8, 25. Yeah, those are all the same. Okay. So that's why the commonality is 95%. Alright. Good to go. Guys, I'm so excited. We're going to launch another satellite into orbit. It's so beautiful. And then we're going to hire heckin' lot of researchers. Where do I do that? Staff. Researchers. Hire. Oh, auto hire. 350. Reserve funds, 25,000. Okay, 5607. What does that turn into? Down to June. Okay. What's our money looking like? Still 242 a day. I don't know. Let's go to 370 here. Oof. So much time is passing. And we still have 137 days left. Eee! I should have hired more scientists. Alright, let's get another 30? 40? Do another 40. 410. Alright, what are we looking at now? Okay, we still have a year and a half. We might be able to just make it. Because we still have another launch we have to do after the next one. I think it depends on how many failures we have, to be honest. Our balance is still 179, which is pretty good. But I think I could still do another 20 researchers. Maybe 30. I don't know if I feel comfortable going lower than that. So we'll warp to that being complete. Our subsidy is reducing by quite a lot. Sorry if you don't like the strobing lights. I don't know of a better way to time warp. I guess we could go into the tracking station and time warp, maybe? And that wouldn't look as terrible. It's a lot more finicky to always go in there to time warp, though. Mission control. We do have the things already taken. Huh. Maybe I should have taken this for the money. Too late now. Because I could have gotten to that orbit with the Fire Ant 1. No, sorry. Apoapsis. Have I gone mad? Why is this auto-opening? Oh, because I changed the setting in a simulation, then the setting unchanged itself. I think. That's what happened. That's my guess anyway. All right, so back to the Fire Ant 3. We should be able to unlock everything now. Which tooling cost and unlock cost will come out of my 150 grand unlock credit, which is acceptable. So we're tooling it. We are hitting the launch button. Uh-oh. Not at the V2 complex, but at the Light Satellites complex. And there we go. Added Fire Ant 3 to Light Satellites. Crazy. Oh, this is how you save into a different category. I see. I was wondering why that kept popping up when that had never popped up before. It's because we can have categories now. It all makes sense. All right, but I do want it just in the default for now. I'll have to make better use of categories moving forward. All right, and now that's gonna take 82 days. Yeesh. But didn't I? No. No, my engineers are maxed. Hmm. 82 days, huh? And how much time do we have left? Well, that'll take us to about a year left to do the capstone. So I think that's enough time, as long as we don't need to do more research. I'm not doing research! Guys, what am I doing? No. No, 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 no. Oh, shucks. Shoot. Shoot. Okay, I'm gonna get the sciencer going. Oh, I screwed that up. I screwed that up big time. That's gonna take 24 days to get done. Yeah, we're wasting all this research time. Do they get paid less, at least? It seems like that might be the case. Oh, that scared me. It said no vessels integrating. But that's just at that specific launch complex. Okay, we'll do the sciencer again, see if it gets us enough to do something. Something would be nice. I think all we need is just autopilot of any sort will work. Right? Yeah. And then the science experiment's already turned on. Let's see how much this gets us. We go from 0.1 to what? Nothing? Oh, right, we have to collect it. I'm dumb. Yes. That part's kind of important. You know, the whole recovering the thing from space to get data on what happened to it, important. Is the mouse still breathing? You know, that type of question. There's something about me that both abhors the idea that we created the fins in order to break off, so that this would be more aerodynamically unstable. But at the same time, I think that's actually a very realistic design. Sometimes things are made to break on purpose, so it's like not the craziest thing. It just feels so wrong to design a ship to break in Kerbal Space Program. Just feels so wrong. Well, this just takes forever, don't it? And we have touchdown. Perfect. All right, recover. And that gets us how much science? Ah, nice. 9.1. Okay. And I still need to do another one of those. So I'm just going to immediately integrate little guys, plans, sciencer, close. Okay. So, what do we do next? Honestly, by the way, I forgot to mention this. This would have been huge. Look at the power on that. The next avionics upgrade makes it so that they only use a fraction of the power that they were using before. Whereas here, it's minus 50%, meaning it still uses 50%. Here, it's only using 0.6%. That's like 1/10, roughly. Sorry, 1/100th. Yes, not even joking. 1/100th of what this one uses. So the next science core basically uses 0 power, comparatively, which is pretty huge. And then the mass is minus 15% on the near Earth. Again, I assume that's the mass difference compared to the previous tier, because that's minus 20%. So that's a strong option. Better solar panel tech would be fine. Lunar range communications I don't need yet. Upgrading rockets is always nice, but I don't think I need it right now. Solid rocket boosters. I am interested in having more options for solid rockets. And we're going to need to start dealing with RCS technology, crew survivability, and descent and landing at some point. By the way, you do have to purchase the fairings upgrades. These right here, you have to purchase it here in the research and development screen. I was confused on why I couldn't reduce the density down to 0.135, and that's because I hadn't purchased it here. So that, don't be like me, don't make that mistake. I think... I think I want better cores. I think I want to do that next. It's going to take 73 days. Okay. And the fire ant is still 56 days away. And we still have over a year left. So I think this is still doable. I'm going to go ahead and do the next sciencer mission, and I will, I'll do that off camera, and I'll be right back. And we're back with another juicy 9 points of science data. So that's not bad. And that can get us the next orbital rocketry and solid rocket engines. Okay. And then I think I meant to look. Do we still have more we can collect? I don't think so. The flying high, we could collect a little bit more. What is remaining science value? Why does that say 1.0? How many times the subject has been retrieved in R&D? I'm struggling to understand exactly. I think it means there's 1.2 units of science left in the space low for the biological experiment. There is still quite a bit for the flying high because, you know, we've spent more time in space low. I wish I knew what space high was, but we'll get there eventually. Anyway, let's launch the Fire Ant 3. It is finally time for exciting progress to be made. Oh, and look at this. It's the perfect time of day. The sun is rising in the east, and we shall... Oh, we have to roll it out. Whoops. Okay, now it's nighttime. There's sunrise. Okay. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, Fire Ant 3. Oh boy, our second actual satellite into real space orbit. This is crazy. This is crazy. Okay. PVG settings. Unguided, 0 to 2. Early shutoff stage, no thank you. Everything else is fine. We already configured these numbers, so we'll keep them the same. Burnout altitude 320. I'm gonna go to 325 just to be even more confident that it'll work. And, well, you guys ready? Launching in 3, 2, 1. We have successful ignition. Stage 1. Successful ignition of stage 1 indeed. Need a screenshot here. Alright. Punching through the lower atmosphere here at breakneck speeds, 400 meters a second. Drag losses accumulating quite rapidly at this stage. "17 seconds left, still no mishaps with the engine. And we get beautiful data units on the XLR 43, which is really nice. Alright, successful second stage. At this point, there's a very high chance the mission is successful because this has a very low failure rate, with over an hour of mean time between failures, and these are very likely to ignite properly. So, we've only got about a 6% chance the mission fails at this point. Which means a 94% chance of success. Assuming that all the staging goes properly. It worked fine in the simulations, so it should work fine here. But, you know, this is... I imagine what I'm feeling now is about 0.5% of what the actual NASA scientists and, you know, people in Russia, when they were doing their thing, like, what they felt when these missions were launching. It's just this, like, we tested everything a million times. We know it should work. Yeah, there's always a chance something weird goes wrong, but, like, we know it should work. And now we're all just on the edge of our seats, you know? And I think I'm feeling like the tiniest fraction of what that actually felt like, because this is just a video game. But at the same time, it's some of the same ideas of like, I tested everything, it works, but what if it goes wrong? There's actual consequences. We have to rebuild the whole rocket. You know, in KSP, you just launch a new one, and it costs you a few funds. But here, it's like, it actually messes with your space program if something goes wrong. And I really like that. Alright, we could have launched a little bit earlier. The sun angle is not quite perfect. It's because we have to go, you know, below the horizon. But, beautiful screenshot here. Alright. You remember that time we launched the Fire Ant 1 and this aerobie failed? Good times. Let's not have that happen again, please. We should see science starting to accumulate. Alright, 20 seconds left. ISO grid tanks, they cost me a lot of money, but they got science-y stuff into orbit, and that is beautiful. Our electric charge is in the green, and we have ignition. Don't fail me now. is the wobble getting worse? Was I wrong about one of these parts being physics-less? Might have been. Seems like there was some torque happening on that thrust. Because the wobble only got worse. Alright, let's look at our numbers. 1662, we made it. 327. We are above 1500, above 300. We have energy flow, or more accurately, we don't have negative energy flow. The launch complexes all went up to a minimum of 40 because they weren't even at that level yet. That was when we finished the research. So now it's checking for stable orbit, and we are... where are you? Geiger Molar counter info. Cosmic ray science is being collected for the next 90 days. And yeah. What else is happening? Cosmic ray science. Micrometeorite detector. Oh. Apparently that doesn't work right. Why is that one not working? That's weird. The other ones work. All right. So the video imaging changes based on our biome. So this thing should give us a lot of science. These two are not biome based. Well, let's go to the tracking station and watch our little guy orbit for 2 weeks, and that should be the end of these two contracts. So the Fire Ant 3. Going around and doing stuff. Earth space low water has been accumulated. Earth space low tropics transmitted. Earth space low savanna. Yeah, putting that TV camera on there was the right choice. We've already gotten how much science? Low desert. I guess we can't see science from in here. But yeah, we need to do 13 days, so let's speed things up a bit. Shores transmitted. We should see forest. Mountains transmitted. Forest. Grasslands. I have to reload. I just noticed this. Why did it not give me launch a new vessel? I'm gonna pause the game and figure that out. I'll be back. Okay, I just reloaded the save and it shows launch a new vessel is checked. So I don't know what happened with that, but I'm gonna pause it and we'll get back in orbit and I'll come back after that. Okay, sorry about that. We're back. Now we have launched a new vessel officially. I don't know what was up with that. And let me just double check that the science is collecting here. Meteorite is running. Television camera is running. Is your TV running? You better go catch it. Geiger-Moeller counter. This is the one that actually matters. Also running. Perfect. Also, I wonder if... Oh, look at that. The weird thing is that you can't see... So, like, the micrometeorite is still doing weird stuff, but if I click on it, and then I open it, now it shows me the right thing. So you have to, like, right-click on it for real, and then it works in Part Commander. Interesting. Anyway, we should be able to now go to the tracking station. Goodness, I don't know what was up with that. That was really weird. Yeah, now we've got launch a new vessel. Okay. So now we'll do our 14 days again. Wait. What's going on? Hold on. I'm confused. Craft must have electric charge after 1 day. Is that what's happening? Is this just happening to be a perfectly bad timing thing, and it's like running out of charge right an hour before that gets checked or something? I don't understand. I don't understand. Where can we see the craft data? I thought we could see it somewhere. Maybe not. Like its fuel and stuff. We're not running out of power, are we? I guess to be fair, I didn't check dark side calcs, but no, we're not running out of power. Something's wrong. Maybe it's me time warping or something. Oh, and now we got the contract. What the heck? Okay, well that was a little glitchy. Was it because we hadn't transmitted? I don't know. Whatever, it worked. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. We got some new leaders. Contract complete. Scientific satellite. Proving the existence of Van Allen radiation belts. And now we should be able to get the other contract. "14 days later. See, it's doing it again. Do I need to fly the vessel? Like, what's... Hey, radiation belts discovered by satellite. The first space probe to include equipment for measuring cosmic rays has revealed belts of charged particles around the Earth. Instead of circling right above us... Oops, I meant to take a screenshot and save it. Instead of circling right above us, Fire Ant 3 goes through an elaborate ballet. It shoots up to an altitude of more than 1,000 kilometers before coming closer, speeding up, and then soaring back out. Due to the strange nature of orbital mechanics, this requires no energy expenditure once in motion. Beautiful. Cool. Your rocket may not be actually following Newton's laws, as you need the mod Principia to simulate in-body gravitational interactions. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Not gonna be doing that. I am curious, though, what's up with this and why we're not getting the reward. I'm hoping if we go and fly this, it gives us the reward. I mean, we need to get sunlight. There we go. Huh. I wonder if sometimes that's part of it. I don't know. Sweet. But we did it. And now we are ready for the capstone project of light satellites. Which is... Why does it not say capstone? I'm scared. Is there one we don't know about? Or do they just not call it capstone? Huh. I guess they just don't call it capstone, because that is certainly the last one. Oh, and we've got new chief scientists. EDL research speed? I don't know what EDL means. Faster integration. Confidence gained from science? I didn't know you gained confidence from science. Huh. Plus 10% science and 10% to science research speed. RCS research speed. That could be useful. The amount of money I spend on hiring researchers is getting lower and lower. So that feels relatively safe. So we'll hire Yvonne Brill. Good for her. And yeah, this is the final project. If you have already completed the temperature and pressure scan, click Info Forced Run in order to complete this contract. Huh. So what do we need to do? Alright. Atmosphere Analysis Satellite. Uncrewed. Launch a new vessel. Reach orbit. Earth orbit. Apo 671 above. Perry above 287. Run a temperature scan and barometer scan and return the science. Use Forced Run and experiment info at the end. This is literally what we just did. I mean, this is so easy. We could have done this with the same satellite we just launched as well. But this wasn't available. Weird. This one might be trickier, but I'm curious. No, the other one needs to be, yeah, it needs to be eccentric. So we can't do both with one. But yeah, we'll be working on that in future episodes. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if you understand what was going on with the finishing the contract thing. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments as always, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.